Hello again. This is JT Carden, your hopefully soon to be luxury realtor here in the Phoenix metro area, coming at you with another riveting YouTube video. And I want to say thank you all for the prayers for the weather here. Last week we did peak at low 90s, which is kind of ridiculous for February. Now we've settled back down into a low to mid 80s, so much more manageable. Today I wanted to talk with you all about something that I think is pretty important and often overlooked. Now, you've probably heard the phrase, the kitchen is the heart of the home. And I agree with that. Especially in our home, kitchen is a very popular place to be. It's where a lot of the action is going on. Now, if that's the case, that the kitchen is the heart of the home, I would argue that this very overlooked piece is what keeps that kitchen beating. That would be the range. Oftentimes, it's the stovetop and oven combined, but I think it really is overlooked. And I wanted to talk with you all about them today, just some of the more popular brands that I see in the luxury homes here in the Phoenix metro area. And the primary reason being, standard stainless steel range isn't going to hurt you. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's hot, it will heat things up. But these come at oftentimes pretty significant price tags. And so I want to encourage you to look more closely at the range that you have and make sure that for the price you're paying for it, it matches things like the design aesthetic you're going for in the kitchen, and that it meets the wants and needs you have in your kitchen setup. Before I jump into the first name on the list of the far and away most common type of range that I see in these homes, I want to point out that these photos are not taken by me in homes here in the Valley, and that is because if I went to 10 open homes yesterday at the $1 million plus mark, there is a good chance that 80% or more of those homes would be this brand of range, which is Wolf. They are everywhere. So if I wanted to get pictures, videos of the other brands in the wild, I would have had to have thought of this video months in advance, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't. I thought of this video last week, and that honestly would not have been enough time to find each of these in a luxury home here, because Wolf is, I kid you not, 80 to 90% of the ranges that I see in these homes, and that tells you a lot about the quality and the availability of them. But also means that if I were to rely on my own photos and videos, wouldn't have been a good thing. So let's dive into Wolf. Wolf is part of a family of products. It's Wolf, Sub-Zero, and Cove. You'll see all three of those names. Wolf is for the heating side of things. Sub-Zero is for the cooling side, like fridges, freezers, beverage coolers. And then Cove is going to be for their cleaning stuff, namely dishwashers. They don't do washing machines that I know of. But you'll see those names pretty consistently in homes. It's meant to be more of an industrial, commercial feel. Their big focus is on giving you that commercial grade quality for your cookware. And they look perfectly fine. I mean, you'll recognize them more often than not from their iconic red knobs. It's stainless steel and then the red knobs. That's kind of their thing. That's how you can pick up on them almost instantly in any home with the ranges. And in addition to being considered a top tier at-home professional grade range, what's nice about them is they are American made, if you're in America, with the headquarters being in good old Madison, Wisconsin, and being produced in Wisconsin and actually in Arizona as well. So you can feel pretty good if you get one, knowing that good chance it was made locally. Not something you get very often with these. And I will say that for a luxury range, the price tag is fairly affordable at just over $14,000 for a 48-inch range, 6 burners, and a griddle. Next on the list, we're going to talk about Bosch. Now, they did have a Super Bowl ad in this past game, which was one of the few highlights of that game, if you ask me. So they're definitely trying to become relevant again. And prior to this, they were most prevalent, I would say, in the late 90s, early 2000s. So you will see them in higher-end homes of that era. Now, they're great, obviously German engineered, which no one's going to complain about. I would say the strong upside is that they are much more approachable in price than anything else on this list, honestly. They're about $5,000 for their largest range, but that's the downside, is that they only go up to 36 inches, which if you have a smaller kitchen, if you happen to have like a nice condo or a townhome or something like that, not a bad idea if you don't need the full 48 inches. But I mean, that is a full foot shorter than any of the other competitors on this list. So that is a distinct drawback. What's nice about Bosch, though, is they do have like a whole home ecosystem, basically, where you can get, kind of like Wolf, where you can get the refrigerator, freezer, dishwasher, all in the same brand name. But they also make vacuums, which is kind of fun. So if you want your vacuum to be the same brand as your dishwasher, you can do that. Now, where I think Bosch will continue to be relevant is going to be with those homes that are on the margin of luxury. So what I mean by that is you're probably not going to see them in the homes that are, $2-3 million plus in Arcadia or Paradise Valley. Where you probably are going to see them are in some of the townhomes and smaller homes in the Biltmore, which, you can have some homes that are kind of in that low to mid $1 million mark. In addition to, maybe a remodel out in Scottsdale, like South Scottsdale area, or maybe some of Arcadia Light. Next on the list, we'll be discussing the brand Miele. Now, this one is, we're getting into the less common ones. I see Miele sporadically in different homes. And while it sounds Italian, I thought it was Italian. It's actually German. And not only is it German, it's actually a pretty old home appliance brand, with their first production happening in 1899, which is a full 30 years before Wolf was ever a thing. So they've been around for a long time. They've really established themselves as really the pinnacle of commercially made luxury appliances. The price tag commands it. It's $18,000 for a 48-inch range. The nice thing about Miele is that they do focus a bit more on the technology side of it. They have a few more options for cooking methods, in that they have steam cooking as well, which is nice if you're into that. I don't really use or need it, but I also can't afford an $18,000 range, so not a problem there. They're also very similar to Bosch in styling, in that it's that sleek, modern, European style. Makes sense because they're both German. Overall, fantastic ranges. You're really only going to see these in a handful of homes scattered through Arcadia, Paradise Valley, and maybe a couple of them somewhere in the Biltmore and some of the really high-end homes. But, I mean, your home's going to have to be worth quite a bit for your range alone to be worth $18K. All right, so the next brand on the list is one that I see very sporadically, and that's the brand Ilve. They are Italian, and again, very nice. These are all luxury appliances, so they're all going to be very nice, or you would hope so at least. This one is pretty distinct in a few ways, though. One is that it intentionally aims to be more rustic in style. So if you look at their website, you'll see that they have more of a vintage feeling knob mechanism. They also have a lot more customization with the ranges. You can pick from a selection of colors for the enamel coating and for the knobs. You can mix and match a little bit. So you do end up with, potentially dozens of variations of the same range, which is cool. It lets you fit it easier into the aesthetic of your home. Just, I hope you're committed to the color scheme that you pick, because these do still run about $16,000 for that 48-inch range. Now, where these distinguish themselves again is that the 48-inch range for the other brands had 6 burners and a griddle. Ilve's have 4 burners, a griddle, and then they have what's called a French top, which I hadn't heard about before, but it's a heat source that's intentionally hotter in the middle and cooler out on the sides. Now, why would you want that, you might ask? Well, let's say you've got a few different things going in the same pan. It means you can control how quickly those things are cooking. Very nice ranges. I really suggest you look at their website and see some of what they've got going on. They look beautiful, like truly beautiful pieces. They really help the home feel more cozy, more warm, a bit more homey, less industrial. Still asking $16,000, so still firmly in that luxury space, but just very uncommon. The last one I actually saw was this picture here, which was in the Clearwater Hills area of Paradise Valley, and I saw that a few months ago, and the home just closed actually. So congrats to the listing agent on that. But yeah, very uncommon to see. So the final range that I'll spend some time discussing is going to be the GE Monogram line. Now, before you start laughing at me for including a GE on this list, keep in mind that this is not like the cafe or profile lines, which I do see somewhat often in some of those almost luxury level homes. This does not feel like a GE on your wallet. It actually is about the same price as Wolf ranges, where a 48-inch monogram range will cost you about $14,000. So they're not inexpensive by any means. And where they amp it up from their normal line of products is that they really focus on the technology. They really focus on the clean, minimalist lines on this appliance. I've seen them, maybe once or twice, like really, really uncommon. I really do see more of the profile or cafe lines, not in luxury homes, but just generally. But when I do see them, it's generally in, if I'm being honest, more of a bachelor pad setup or a home that's very, very modern, because they are very modern in aesthetic. They work just great. A lot of people who pick them, a lot of the few people, of the few people that have them, they've all expressed that they don't like the fussiness of some of the other brands here that we've discussed already. Don't know how fussy they actually are, but these particular homeowners wanted something a bit simpler to manage, a little bit more approachable. So they went with this. If you got $14,000, $15,000 to spend on a range, you do what you want to do. I'm not going to judge you there. Now, I'll mention a few other brands that I've seen very occasionally, even less so than Monogram. Maybe about the same as Monogram. And those are going to be brands like Viking and Thermador. Now, by no means are these less quality brands. Price point, they land right around the same range as what we've been seeing between Wolf and Monogram and Ilvi and these other brands. It's about the same price point for these guys. Good quality, good product. Just for whatever reason, you don't really see them. And they used to be pretty popular. Maybe it's just because so many homes are new construction and Wolf is slightly more approachable, more affordable. But I just don't see them that often. What I will say is you will probably see a surprising amount of KitchenAid appliances in kitchens. And I'm not talking about the kitchen mixer. That's, iconic. Everyone should have one of those. What I'm talking about are KitchenAid ovens and refrigerators in homes that are $3 million or more. I have been shocked and, I'll be honest, a little disappointed at how frequently that brand pops up, and I really cannot tell you why. Price point is nowhere near anything else on this list. The visuals are fine. It's nothing great. Most of the time I see them in stainless steel, so why not just get one of these other brands that's a bit more reputable? But you'll see a lot of KitchenAid. Just fair warning on that. To kind of wrap it up, aesthetic does play a part in this, but more than anything, it's going to come down to functionality and how important that is to you. For the first point, aesthetic-wise, if you want a more rustic-looking kitchen or a more cozy-looking kitchen, I suggest genuinely you look at Ilve. They're great ranges. They are high quality. Italian is, obviously, they know how to cook, so you trust them to know how to make a good handcrafted range. They're just going to be a little bit expensive, not the worst thing. If you want something that's really sleek, modern, fits the modern home you're in or that you built, look at Monogram. They're great. They really work well. They look clean. If you want to look like you're a professional, go with Wolf. They're quintessential. That's kind of their whole MO, is the at-home professional cook. If you want your friends to know that you have disposable income, go with Miele. It's a beautiful range. Don't get me wrong. They look great. Very distinct. You know a Miele when you see it. But it does say something about you if you have one in your kitchen. And if you really just do not care, you're not planning on cooking, you just want a decent resale value on your home, you want to look like at least the average, go with Wolf. And I say go with Wolf because realistically it's everywhere. I mean, like I said at the beginning, if I went to 10 open houses today, I would be surprised if any fewer than 8 of them had Wolf appliances. It is just prolific. And now that I'm off that soapbox, I would encourage you to continue watching my other videos, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I guess I'm on Facebook too, so if you want to follow me there, you can. But I would love to chat with you. If you have questions about this video or the luxury home market in Phoenix, please give me a call. I will have a new website soon, which is very exciting, so pay attention for that. I'll put a link to it when it's live. But I would love to get in touch with you, and I would love to take you out and see some of these beautiful homes.